Don't come. Oh. Good morning and welcome to the Providence Television International Newspaper Review this wonderful Saturday morning. My name is Ugbebo Ikekwa. We're moving straight down to the Leadership Weekend newspaper. We have proposed, that is the screaming headline there, proposed 80,000 naira electricity fee. Trouble brews in varsities as ASU students kick. Parents, others vow to resist implementation, ask authorities to cut overhead costs and generate own power. Still on the Leadership Weekend, 29 days after Supreme Court verdict, governors still operate state and local government joint accounts. You can find details of that story on page 4 of the Leadership Weekend. We move straight away to the Saturday Punch, where we have another screaming header there. Federal government floods major cities with policemen ahead of 1 million man march. Massive corps deployment in flashpoints protest venues nationwide. Organizers tackle federal government on rights violations, demand release of demonstrators. And now to the Saturday Times, where we have another header there. Eminent Nigerian citizens visit Tinubu, ask for new constitution. We also have another story there. Scores killed in fresh attacks in Benue, Kaduna states. Troops neutralize 108 terrorists, arrest 172 others in 1 week. And from the Saturday Times, we'll be moving down to the Weekend Trust. On the front page of the Weekend Trust, we have local government autonomy, hurdles to implementation. A writer goes down there with it, saying questions over feasibility of local governments receiving allocations directly. And from the Weekend Trust, we'll move immediately to the Saturday Vanguard, where we have another screaming header. Nigerians tell federal government how to end bad governance. The riders there on the Saturday Vanguard to the story, Nigerians tell federal government how to end bad governance. You have downsize cabinet, reduce cost of governance. We also have another rider there, fight corruption with all sincerity and stop crude oil theft. Another rider, reverse harsh economic policies and culture of impunity, fighting security, boost agriculture, invest substantially in critical sectors, ensure justice, equity, rule of law, and the final rider there, ensure electoral reforms. Still on the front page of the Saturday Vanguard, we have why protest turned violent in the north, northern leaders. And from the Saturday Vanguard, will move immediately to the Guardian Weekend, where we have a screaming header there. Why joy of huge population still eludes Nigerians. Details on pages 28 and 29 of the Guardian Weekend. Still on the front page of the Guardian Weekend, we have NLC holds emergency National Executive Council meeting over alleged invasion today. Details of that story will be on page 43 of the Guardian Weekend. And we move over to this day newspapers. On this day newspapers, the front page, we have more states dispute federal government's claim of disbursing 573 billion naira grant. Still on the front page of this day newspapers, we have the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, that is the NUPRC, faults Dangote Refinery's accusation of reluctance to facilitate crude supply. And from these newspapers, we'll be moving down to Saturday Telegraph. On the Saturday Telegraph, we have in the front page, 1 million man march to signal day 10 of protest nationwide. That is the End Bad Governance protest. And a rider to that effect states, this is a critical juncture in the campaign, say organizers. We'll move immediately from the Saturday Telegraph to the Saturday Tribune. On the front page of the Saturday Tribune, we have a screaming header there also. I will review request for new constitution, says President Tinubu. Anyoku Oshoba, other leaders visit president, ask for constituent assembly. And that's the paper review this morning on Providence Television International. We'll move straight to the next segment, which will be the newspaper analysis. Don't go away, please stay tuned. Thanks for staying tuned. On the newspaper analysis segment, I have with me the Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, Providence Television International, Dr. Emmanuel Eghariva. You're welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
And this morning, we'll be looking, as from the papers, we'll be looking at a very particular topic, the review of the Nigerian Constitution. And from the Saturday Tribune, we saw a screaming header there that actually said, I will review request for new constitution. That is coming from the president of Nigeria, Tinubu. Dr. Eghariva, the calls, the clamor for the review of the Nigerian Constitution, is it really necessary?
Yes, I think so, because of obvious lacunas or gaps in the Constitution. A lot of leaders, particularly leaders of ethnic nationalities, have spoken about this. And I'm glad that somebody like Anyaku has led the delegation to Aso Rock on this same issue. Because I think most of them agree that, yes, there are obvious gaps in the Constitution. I mean, for instance, the issue of resource control, the issue of independent candidacy, okay, the issue of the powers of chief executives of states. On paper, they are chief security officers, but in reality, they are not. I mean, these are areas we must look at. The Constitution, there are very many. There are very many. We may not belabor the point here. Maybe we'll reserve all that for another time. Okay. I believe that, yes, it's a clarion call, and I'm happy, though, that President Tinubu has also come out with a statement that it will be ready, possibly at the appropriate time, to look at the nuances of the present constitution and see how we can manage and maneuver through it. It is almost compulsory that we should do it, because it's the ground norm, is the constitution that governs our very existence. Okay? But if you ask me a personal question, I would say yes, rather than even do that. I mean, let's concentrate on good leadership, for instance. I mean, if there's good leadership, then the issue of constitutional amendment will be reduced to the barest minimum.
Okay.
If you have a good leader who is selfless, in other words, who is altruistic, who is very determined to change the face of this nation, we won't talk about that. Many people will be silent on the issue of constitutional review.
Okay.
But we're talking about constitutional review obviously because is the ground norm, is the law, and the law governs everybody. That's the point.
And so, from the legal point of view, is there actually a time frame for the clamor of constitutional review? Is it going to be something like every 5 years and all that?
No, really. I mean, we've had, unfortunately, we lost the opportunity when we had the national conference under Jonathan. That was a golden opportunity that we missed. There was a white paper on it, but the thing was put somewhere else. So I think that can come up. I mean, some of the things we're talking about now that will necessitate constitutional review are already there in that document.
Okay.
If only we can dust it up and do one or two things. I believe that, yes, it must be on a regular basis, but it's not as regular as maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I mean, the constitution is not something you change every day anyway. It must stand the test of time. And I believe that our leaders, particularly those who are grounded in law, should be brought into the picture and see how we can manage. In fact, you will even discover that the present constitution that we operate, a lot of people argue that it was put there by the military. Okay? So we need a constitution that derives from the people.
Okay.
In other words, you need a constitution that is people-centered, as people-oriented. All right? So they clamor for that. And I believe that, yes, they are right.
We had something like the national conference that you talked about the other time, and we all know the results of that. And so the clamor again for the change, a change in our constitution, that will still require another national conference. Are you of the opinion?
No, it may not. I mean, it just goes through the National Assembly and the State House of Assembly. Okay, but that was an easier way out. The conference. The conference. Right? Because some of those things could just have been adopted and then pushed to the National Assembly. And that would have been easier.
Okay.
Okay. But if we go through the normal process, there will be debates and counter debates, and that takes a long time. However, it is something that we must do if we believe strongly that it will bring succor to millions and millions in this country. But as I said, which is probably right, as I said earlier on, good leadership is the issue. Where you have a good leader, you don't talk about constitutional review. Okay? Because you see, a leader who is upright, a leader who is given to the nuances of his mandate and his position, will look at things from a purely holistic point of view. Okay. They will not like to do things that will go against his conscience, things that will go against the consciousness of the people. Okay. So, and therefore, that means that the constitutional review that we are talking about will not be a hot spot, really. That's the way I want to put it. So, but, well, constitutional review, a lot of people are already talking about it. So there's no way we can go back on it. And that's why I'm happy that President Tinubu himself has now realized that it is necessary that we'll take a second look at the Constitution.
All right.
Yes.
Well, we'll move over from constitutional review today, which marks the 10th day and actually the last day as regards the End Bad Governance protest. The organizers are saying that a 1 million man march to signal the turn of protest nationwide. Sir, are you in support of this? Is this not another diversionary measure aimed at distorting or disturbing economic activity today? They've done what they did in the past few days. Why organize a 1 million man march today?
Maybe, maybe to officially signal the end of the protests. But do we have to have a 1 million man march to signal the end?
Because as regards that, the troops have already been deployed. Yes,
well, naturally, you expect any
deployed.
government to do that, particularly in third world countries. You expect any government to do that. But I just pray that this again doesn't precipitate violence. You know, and all sort of things. Again, as you notice, Edo State is relatively quiet. I mean, we are transmitting from Benin. Benin is particularly quiet. There's no uprising. Okay? So, but there are hotspots in this country. Kano, Kaduna, most of them in the north. Abuja, for instance, the seat of government. So we are very hopeful that these things will not be taken over by hoodlums. Okay? If you march along the street, even if you have 2 million people and they are carrying on their business without molestation, there's no problem about that. There's no problem. I mean, every government will agree, just like this government does, that it's their right to protest. But where the friction comes is where there are instances of destruction, instances of arson and all sort of things. I mean, no government wishes for that, and I believe that we need to caution the people, even before now. In the last two days, I think government ought to have been talking about this, or the presidential aides ought to have been talking about this, really. They're talking now at the 11th hour. They ought to have been saying that, look, we've had instances of mass destruction on our hands. We need not add to all of that. So that is the point.
And finally, on the newspaper analysis, we'll be looking at 29 days after Supreme Court verdict. Governors still operate state and local government joint accounts. The autonomy, local government autonomy. It's been an issue that's been boiling over time. And do you think that the local governments in Nigeria actually deserve to be autonomous at this particular time?
I'll look at the pros and cons. They deserve to be autonomous because the Constitution, again, says that tier government. So it's enshrined in the Constitution. And I believe that, yes, they have a right to get what is due them from the Federation account. But you'll be surprised. I'm sure you saw this, that some local governments are even complaining now that they want to stay with the governors. I'm sure you read that. They want to stay with the governors. They want to go against the ruling, the judgment of the Supreme Court. There must be a reason for that. But it baffles me, because here is a court judgment, a judgment from the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court, that says, look, you people should be removed from the shackles of the state government. And yes, some people are saying, no, we don't want this. We want to go back to where we were.
And that was why I asked that question. Are they ripe enough for autonomy? If there is that dissent, some are saying, no, we don't want it. Some are saying, we want it.
I think the case will go back to the Supreme Court, because again, in law, the Supreme Court is the only one that can overrule itself. Yes, I see this case going back to the Supreme Court in the not too distant future, because there's already a dichotomy. All right? But it's a pity that we're running into this kind of storm. A lot of them, don't forget, a lot of the local governments complained earlier than this that they had nothing from the state government. And they were just being treated as appendages and probably parastatals of the state government. So I'm baffled now, really. I need to go really deeply into that as to the reason why they don't want, except perhaps there's no good relationship between some local government and the federal government. That may be one plausible reason. I've not put my fingers on it, but I think that's a possible reason. And yes, truly speaking, I see the case going back to the Supreme Court. Yes.
And on that note, we'll be saying thanks for watching the newspaper analysis. As usual, like I would always tell you, don't go away. Our next program, Thoughts and Visions of Dr. Emmanuel Egariva, comes up next. Do stay tuned. Thanks for staying tuned. You're welcome to the program Thoughts and Visions of Dr. Emmanuel Ehariba. And in the studio, since the program reflects his thoughts and visions, we have no other person than the Chairman, Chief Executive Officer, Providence International, Providence Television International, Dr. Emmanuel Ehariba. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Yes, I guess this is part 2. We started yesterday.
Part 2, exactly.
So I'm happy to be back to talk about the subject matter, yes.
Yes, thank you very much. And for those who are just joining in, the subject matter yesterday, because this is actually part 2, was politics with a human face. And we're looking at it from the angle of monetary influence in Nigerian politics. And so, continuing from yesterday, where we stopped yesterday, sir, the influence of money in Nigerian politics, how do you see that?
Well, it has always been a soft or a sore point. It has always been a sore point. It's not something that we really want to talk about because, as a matter of fact, I have a feeling that that is one of the reasons why our politics is not developing.
Oh.
Because we monetize virtually everything.
Huh.
And it starts right from the preparation, where you even want to go to the primaries. It starts from there.
Okay.
Okay? And that happens to the extent that you now have to spread money around so that you can give people who are going to vote for you during the primaries.
Huh.
And then when the primaries itself comes, you still spend money and all that. In other words, you now find that the candidate is the highest bidder.
Okay.
That's the evil aspect of it. And I don't think that it all goes well for our political climate. But that's not saying that people cannot spend money in politics. I mean, in any case, you spend money for billboards, for publicity and all sort of things, for mobilizing your own supporters, okay? I mean, transportation and all sort of things, campaign funding. These are all things that you spend money for, but it ends there. But when you now begin to use money as a kind of inducement,
okay,
that's where the problem comes.
Okay.
When you induce the security forces, when you induce the electorate,
okay,
when you induce vulnerable people like market women and all that, it's terrible. And the results will show. When you buy your way through, the results must show because you have a different mindset, as I said yesterday. So you'll be there on your own terms, okay? You're not there on the terms of the people, and your mandate will be questioned. Yes.
Okay, and from the ambits of the law, is it a criminal offense to induce?
Of course, it's a criminal offense.
It is a criminal offense.
Of course, it's a criminal offense because it's like 419. I mean, Section 419 of the Criminal Code, right? It's something very similar, all right? So, but it's a criminal offense, and that's why I said yesterday that look, we must have special courts for electoral offenses. This is one major electoral offense, this issue of inducement. And people do it brazenly, even on election day. You see them giving money, even while the people are still on the queue.
Yes.
You see their agents, some party agents, distributing money all over the place, you know. I have seen it, so it's not, and people have seen it, so it's not a question of just trying to agitate. And it's done openly. And it's so bad that even when the security forces are there, they do it and nothing happens. They do it with impunity, okay? But I think that even with this, the electorate ought to be wiser.
Okay.
In the sense that, yes, the slogan is, take their money, but don't vote for them. I don't agree with that. Why must you even take the money at all?
Okay.
Yes, that's the issue. Just like people say, oh, you dine with the devil with a long spoon. Why must you even dine with the devil in the first place? That's a you want to dine with the devil with a long spoon. You shouldn't dine with the devil in the first place.
Okay.
You shouldn't take the money in the first place because it's morally wrong. And people on their own say, oh no, it's our money, we'll take it, but we won't vote for them. That is a wrong attitude. Don't take the money at all.
Okay.
Okay?
And so can we reduce this to the level of poverty?
It's poverty, yes. It's poverty. Because I will tell you something, I have voted many times, and what I discover is that people who are fairly well-to-do, they don't do this.
Okay.
It is those people at the bottom of the rungs of the ladder. You see them even, they scamper for it. They scramble for it. And that is not good enough. It is not good at all, because it doesn't bring out the best in us. Even security forces on election grounds, they partake in this kind of nonsense. You see, I have seen it.
Okay.
And the reason why they do it, I've spoken with one or two before, and the reason they give is, maybe the police high command or something didn't give us enough money to take care of ourselves. And then you reduce yourself to all kinds, or you subject yourself to all kinds of infractions.
And so coming to this, you talked about criminal courts, or rather courts to be set up as regards electoral malpractices and all that. And so since you have agreed that it is a kind of like a criminal offense,
It's a criminal offense.
over time, is it that the authorities do not know that these things have been happening? And if they do know, what do you suggest as a kind of measure to stop the continuance of money play in politics as regards inducement?
Well, that will depend on our courts. The judicial system is such that you need to prove beyond reasonable doubt. And some of these things are done in the open. So if you can have clips, I think that will serve as a kind of deterrent. If you have clips of people who do this kind of thing, and then they are admitted in evidence when they go to court, I think that will serve a great deal.
Okay.
I also believe that the electoral body should do a lot of tutoring.
Okay.
They should educate the electorate as to the dangers, the moral dangers in this, electoral dangers in this, that look, taking money, in kind of inducement from agents is a serious offense. It must be drummed into their ears that this is a criminal offense, and then anybody caught will be in for it. And I think the judicial system, the courts must always play their role creditably.
Okay.
When such things come to them. There are no sentiments at all. If you're caught, you're caught. Okay.
And then we are talking
about both the giver and the taker.
Okay.
Because they are both guilty. You give, you take, both of you go in.
We're saying this because you suggested that there could be clips as regards, yes, it's being done in the open. What about the situation, very, very true life stories, situations where you have party chieftains having to demand for money for party hopefuls? How do you solve that kind of issue?
Was it not in your presence that somebody gave money to a governor? And he covered the money with his Baba Riga. I don't want to mention the name. Everybody knows. Such things should be done under the watchful eyes of the camera.
Okay.
Secret cameras. Yes, you're asking me, I want to run for a position of governor. You ask me to bring 1 billion. I'll put a camera there. Yes. There are cameras now that can, you don't even need to put anything on top. Your wristwatch can be a camera. Okay? Things have gone so sophisticated now. So that when he's taking the money, everybody will see it.
Okay.
And you can use it against him. Because that is even forcing you to part away with the money. This is another criminal offense on its own. It's forcing you to part with your money. As I said yesterday, they will ask you, sit you down, how much can you offer?
Exactly.
Yes, as if is an item of merchandise. That's what this whole situation has been reduced to. It is tragic for development, political development, and for the democratization process. It is terrible. And that's one of the things that we find it quite often. It's keeping us down. We cannot proceed when this kind of things happen. Okay. And if you ask me, I'll tell you straight away that yes, the courts must look at this things right from the beginning, not when it should even be a pre-election matter. Yes, pre-election matter, not after. What we find these days is that they now use it at the end. So no, I gave this one money, I gave somebody. It cannot be proved so coherently. It should be, if it's even possible, we should have mobile courts. Designated mobile courts. So when you are caught doing that kind of thing, it's summarily sentenced.
All right, coming down to monetary influence, that's actually the topic for today's discussion, monetary influence in Nigerian politics. We have also seen a situation where having to pick the forms from each political party.
Yes.
Quite exorbitant fees.
Yes,
is this a healthy
It's not. It's not at all. In fact, it's one of the most critical areas we must look at. Because it doesn't help the cause of good governance.
Okay.
Ab initio. I said it yesterday and I'm repeating it here. A lot of good people abound in this country. People who can take our states and our country to the promised land. But most of these people don't have the money.
Okay.
They don't. They don't have the money. And even if they do, they want to use it wisely.
Okay.
It's not something, I mean, if you work hard for your money, you don't fritter it away like that. All right? And you don't depend on money to give you what you want in politics. No, you don't. Let your work speak for you. Let your intellect speak for you. And let your rapport with the electorate also speak for you. There are many people who just come out from the blues. They want to run for the position of governor. They want to run for the position of a chairman of a council. No track record.
Okay.
Yes, no track record at all. They just come, but they have all the money. And then the guys who don't have the money are pushed aside.
Okay.
Almost ostracized. Even within the political party. That's why I was telling you just yesterday that we need to develop the system that elevates individual candidacy.
Oh.
Yes, and I think
You're
that's
so
where the
particular
future
about
is.
this individual candidates.
Yes, it's true, because a lot of people have suffered so much in the hands of party leaders. The party leaders sometimes are overbearing.
Okay.
Some are good, obviously. Some are very good. They will not even take money from any of the candidates because their conscience will judge them. But some will tell you that they are going into these positions because they need to get money from the candidates.
I still think that there's quite a lot. I still think that there's quite, because you talked about they still need a lot of money, or there's individuals who sponsor candidates for reasons of getting special favors when that candidate peradventure wins the elections. This is something that happens, that we see happen all the time. You find individuals coming, okay, yeah, even if he doesn't win, one way or the other, I will get a share when he's made a commissioner or something. Could you throw some light as to the dangers of such fundings to parties?
It's just that we are living in a very terrible climate. Otherwise, some of these things happen elsewhere.
Okay.
In some Western countries, when you are running for position, your friends come around you. But that does not give them a license to come and meet you that they want positions.
Okay.
I mean, this thing should be done selflessly. But in Nigeria, they say there's no free lunch. Okay? So I give you 10 million to support you. I should expect 20 million naira in return. I mean, this is not trade by barter, for crying out loud. But they do it. They buy positions of commissionership, secretary to government, and all sort of things. And that's one of the reasons why we must encourage the candidates. Go out and look for funds without strings attached.
Okay.
Yes, without strings attached.
And do you actually think in the Nigeria of today that monetary influence is not, that can be removed as regards Nigerian politics?
There must be deterrence. Yes, there must be deterrence, because it weakens the system. It weakens the structure.
Okay.
So when we now monetize everything, must we even monetize everything? We monetize virtually everything in this country, and it's wrong. It's even so wrong in politics because that is where we bring our leaders from. I mean, the political system, the electoral system brings out our leaders.
Okay.
Okay? So when it throws up the wrong people, you have wrong ideals in governance, wrong ideals in government. That I think is, and I think the National Orientation Agency should also work on this.
Okay.
They are empowered, at least to enlighten the people and make sure that some of these nonsense are covered up completely. Because I'll tell you something, once you monetize and you get there, you must recoup. That's what we said yesterday.
Exactly.
Yes, if you spend $1 billion, for instance, to get the position of a governor, nobody should attempt to see you sit idly by. You must get your money back. Okay. But I have always argued, maybe because I was in government, I've always argued that no governor, I'm not even talking to the president, no governor should have any reason to put his hand into the public till.
Okay.
No, because you have enough already, for example. And by the way, there is no governor, that much I know, who came into governance as a poor man.
Okay.
Just look at the story. There is none. who will come in the position of a governor as a poor man. Is it houses they want to build? They already have houses. Is it cars they want to buy? They already have cars. In fact, most of them have even finished sponsoring their children through school. All right? So why must you now put your hand? It is the height of corruption. And you want to put your hand into the public till. Meanwhile, the state takes care of you.
You know, that line of your discussion brought me to something, declaration of assets before getting to power. Has this really had any deterrent value?
How many of them have been caught? I should throw the question back at you. No, I'm telling you, I mean, this is a serious matter. How many of them have been caught? You know, some of them are even done with falsehood, you know, at the back. So it's terrible. But I think that, yes, I haven't raised that point. I think I agree with you that that is necessary. Yes, but Nigerians are good at shortchanging situations. They are bending around to do the wrong things. I strongly believe, very, very much, that there's no reason, no earthly reason why any governor, why must you put your hand there? You have everything. And I'm not sure they buy fuel when they are going on travel, the BTA or whatever is free. Yes. When everywhere they are going to, almost free, at the expense of the state, which shouldn't be ordinarily. All right. But that's what we find in this country. Yes.
And so, as a kind of a reminder for those who were not with us yesterday, what, on a more general view, what are those basic points that should give politics a human face in Nigeria?
The electoral process is one. The electoral process, we talked about it yesterday, really. The head of the electoral organ,
yes,
should be free from all encumbrances. Okay? He should not be loyal to the president. He should be loyal to the constitution. He should be loyal to the people. Okay? Because his salaries are paid from the public coffers. Okay? When he's upright and he stays neutral, whatever he says should stand.
Okay.
Should stand. That's why I'm in fact thinking that we must look back, except for now, but we must look back at having retired justices of the Supreme Court as electoral chiefs.
Okay.
Because you see, that's where integrity is. Okay? I'm not saying that others don't have integrity, but when you are retired as a Supreme Court justice, that means you are like Caesar's wife, above reproach, and you carry on without airs, all right, and you do things with diligence because you have your name to maintain. How many of these people who have been electoral umpires, they don't care about their names? No, they don't, because they will tell you that I have my duty to perform and also that. But in performing that duty, what is it that you have brought to the table to make sure that you stay in the middle? And it is not even seen or observable that you have tilted to one side or tilted to the other side. But I should think that, yes, I mean, and it will be a plus to our judiciary if, for instance, a retired Chief Justice of Nigeria is brought in.
Okay.
And say, yes, and in any case, he knows the law.
Yeah.
You can't bend him. He knows the law. He knows what the law says. Okay. And he has his integrity to maintain.
Okay.
For our people, most of them are late now, like Audi Esho, for instance, who come in to direct the purpose, who have very meaningful results. Very meaningful results indeed.
All right. Like I would always say, sir, it's always a wonderful session with you. Very, very interesting, very, very enlightening. The Edo State elections will be coming up in just about a month's time, and we'll have a whole lot to look at coming from thoughts and visions of Dr. Emmanuel Egariba. The program we'll be talking, because it is concerned mostly with leadership, we'll be having a whole lot to discuss as regards political reform.
I will even, sorry to cut in, I will say, I mean, this is a station that has come on board now, for example.
Yes.
Most of the gladiators should come. We'll talk with them. Let them also tell us what they have in store for the people. It doesn't matter the political party. You come. Even those that are lesser known, come. I'm using this opportunity to invite all of them. We'll approach them. Let them come and tell us. Because this, when we go live here, it is streamed all over the world, okay?
Exactly.
So that's an opportunity. Whether you are PDP or APC or Labour or YPP or whatever, come. And we have a mandate to stay in the middle.
Exactly.
Yes, I mean, we must do our job as professionals.
Exactly.
I will interview you without cutting corners.
Yes.
Right. So we must in a straight jacket.
And so, like you've heard it straight from the Chief Executive Officer, Providence Television International, it should be worthy of note that Providence Television International does not have any political affiliation. So, in some few days' time, you will be seeing some of these gubernatorial candidates, Edo State elections, coming to the station to air their views as regards their ambitions and the things they hope to achieve for the people of Edo State. But no matter the comments of such individuals, it does not portray the view of Providence Television as regards any political party. Yes. On this note, I would want to tell you that please, to get to us on YouTube, just simply type in Providence Television International and you are good to go. Subscribe, hit the like button, drop your comments, and you are good to go. You can make inquiries also on Providence Television International YouTube. And on this note, I want to once again say, sir, thank you so much for being a guest on the program.
Yeah, thank you. Just to quickly add that from time to time, well, thank God that this has even been woven around me, as it were. It's a pet idea, but I think it's going very far. God has blessed us with a great deal of potentials. I want to share my thoughts and my visions with people in many areas, in very many areas, whether it's politics, in communication, in parenting, for example, very diverse areas, and I'm sure that the people will be the better for it.
Thank you so much, sir. And so on this note, you've heard it straight from the Chief Executive Officer. Thoughts and Visions of Emmanuel Egariva is a program that is packed full with so much interesting topics for you to learn from. On this note, I want to say thank you so much for staying tuned. As usual, Providence Television International has so much lined up for your viewing pleasure. I'll say thank you again for staying tuned. Don't go away.